The following was originally published in 2018, and while I stand by the critiques of The Last Jedi I make, I deeply regret any direct personal attacks I make against Rian Johnson, Kathleen Kennedy, or any other employee of Lucasfilm. Those comments were made in anger and frustration, and I will do a separate video about that after this series.
Hey guys, so tomorrow is my... today is my 50th birthday. Well, technically, at the time I'm writing and recording this, tomorrow is my 50th birthday, but this video is posted today, which when I write this is tomorrow, and... oh, man, anyway, I'm so confused. Anyway, to celebrate my 50th birthday, I'm doing an extra special edition of The Last Jedi review. And by extra special, I really just mean a bit longer because I had some extra time away from work. Hey guys, first of all, I need to thank Hector Fernando Peralta. I hope I'm not saying that too badly. As well as my old friend, British Nerd, for pointing out that my counter got stuck. And so 3 points did not register in the system. So, fixed. If you like what I'm doing, and you want to see more content, or even just longer videos from my regular content, please consider supporting me on Patreon. I know, plugs are evil, but actually, as we learned on yesterday's wonderful installment of this very review, there is no good and evil, there is no right and wrong, there is only balance. So yeah, since there's no right or wrong, no good and bad, no evil, I can just plug away from now on, because that way I'm going to spend all my time, all my videos from now on, I'm just going to spend the entire time just plugging my Patreon page. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Give me your money. Just give me that. Yeah. Last time on the Anti-Trekker, DJ taught us that in the Star Wars universe, it is now official. There is no good, there is no evil. Also, Vice Admiral Holdo proves that she is an idiot. So, what did we learn overall? Well, that there is no good, there is no evil, there is no right, there is no wrong, but apparently, there is still stupid. So Poe gets on his space radio with Finn, who is now piloting DJ's stolen ship? What? What? Huh? Wait, like... 2 minutes ago, Finn was in the back with DJ and they were having their nice talk about no good or evil and all that garbage, while DJ was drinking his space coffee. The same cup of coffee that he was drinking when they showed Finn, Rose, and DJ in the cockpit at the beginning of their flight. So now, the three of them are all back in the cockpit. DJ is still drinking his cup of coffee, but Finn is flying the ship. What? Rose is just standing around while Finn is piloting, but why did they switch places? Huh? Now look, I know some of you are saying,
well, of course they switched. After all, hyperspace is not instantaneous. They have most likely been flying for hours.
The problem with that is that they have a ticking clock. Specifically, I believe it's about 18 hours of a ticking clock, which means that if from the beginning of this mission they had 18 hours, if the hyperspace trip was long enough for them to need to switch pilots midway through the trip, they would probably never have been able to save the Resistance. We also know that while they were in the space horsey space pen and looking at Space Biscuit and all that garbage, and they were in space jail, they looked at their gas gauge and they said, oh, the fleet's running on fumes. It didn't sound like they had hours before they were going to run out of fuel. So, yeah, I don't buy it. I don't think this was a particularly long hyperspace trip. But, whatever. The Force. Meanwhile, back on the Millennium Falcon, Rey is hiding her freshly stolen sacred ancient Jedi text. Because you know, all Jedi learn that you should steal priceless artifacts and hide them away for your personal use. Right after she finishes covering up her crime, she gets in the escape pod and tells Chewbacca to stay out of range until he gets her signal. Because, you know, Rey is now the captain of the Millennium Falcon. And Chewbacca, I guess, is just the personal property of whoever happens to be in charge of the Falcon? Huh? Okay. I know it was accidental, but I happened to hit pause while looking at the movie on this particular frame. And it just really looks to me like Rey has been, we'll just say, indulging in substances that are only legal in a few states, which could explain a lot about her behavior. And you know, under the right amount of controlled substances, you just might think that you are a master Jedi. So in fact, this whole movie could be a brilliant piece on the effects of drugs on the human psyche, and that this movie is just done from the perspective of someone on massive amounts of controlled substances. That explains everything. If only that were true. So Rey tells Chewbacca to tell Finn something. No, really. They go out of their way to make sure that we do not know what it is.
If you see Finn before I do, tell him. Yeah, perfect. Tell him that.
F you, Rian Johnson. And now, I suppose that based on your reaction to fans from before, if I try to speculate on what Chewbacca suggested to Rey that she said was perfect, that I'm the one being stupid because I shouldn't be wondering about what's coming next. That fans speculating about aspects of the film is just stupid and wrong, and that's why people didn't like The Last Jedi in the first place, and so we're just a bunch of fools, and, you know, what... Why in the world would we want to figure out what the mystery that you threw in front of us actually was, right? You know what, Rian Johnson? You are beyond a hack. You are the worst thing to come into film. Okay. All right. So, I know some of you are probably thinking, why am I laughing? Because this scene doesn't look that bad or anything. In fact, I'm going to start out by giving credit where credit is due. This scene is one of those shots that makes me think about how beautiful this film really is. The folks at Industrial Light and Magic, they really outdid themselves with this film. I mean, this is honestly breathtaking work. Let me make this clear. I mean, we know that all the spaceships in this film are computer generated, right? That's just the way things are done nowadays. And yet, so few of them look all that good. There are exceptions here and there, and now that you can do anything, it's not, you gotta really work to make the design of the ship work, but not only that, to make the scale of everything feel real and everything. And they just hit it perfectly with some of this stuff. And this shot is a splendid example of why Industrial Light and Magic is known as the best in the business when it comes to visual effects. There is nothing better. Okay, now let's get into the complete and utter bullshit that is this scene. First and foremost, how did Rey and Chewbacca know where the supremacy was? The Falcon drops out of hyperspace in perfect position to drop off the lifeboat and then jump away. How did they know the exact location and the best angle of approach in advance? Now, I know that some of you are no doubt thinking,
well, she just used the cloaked binary beacon that Poe got from Finn to find them.
Which I would grant you is the only way they could have possibly learned the location of the fleet. However, even with that, they did not jump in front of the Raddus, which is what we should have seen. If she had simply jumped to the position of the binary beacon, the Falcon would have appeared in front of the Raddus. But no, they jumped in front of the supremacy, facing the supremacy, and they knew exactly what they were doing. And of course, she drops out of the Falcon literally within about a second of the Millennium Falcon dropping out of hyperspace. So that's just, there's something wrong here. But wait, it gets even better. Because even assuming that they used the cloaked binary beacon to locate them, how did Rey know that the First Order was in pursuit of the Resistance at all? Remember, Rey and Chewbacca left the Resistance base before the First Order showed up. You remember, in the last movie, Rey was on Ahch-To the entire time. So she had no idea that the First Order had even found the Resistance. Now, she should have expected that her cloaked binary beacon would simply get them to wherever the Resistance was and everything would be just fine. She had no way of knowing that the cloaked binary beacon would actually get them to the First Order.
But we just saw Finn and Poe talking over their space radio, so I'm sure someone with the Resistance was keeping Chewbacca informed while Rey was training with Luke.
Wrong answer yet again. Because, and this one, the funny thing is, this has nothing to do with opinion or interpretation. I find this kind of funny. They go out of their way to make sure you know that's not the case. Because while they were still on Ahch-To, Rey specifically asked Chewbacca about it.
Still can't reach the Resistance. Keep at it. If you get through, check their status. And ask about Finn.
So yeah, Rey had no way of knowing that the First Order had even found the Resistance, let alone that they were involved in a slow chase across the stars. But of course, Rian Johnson just assumes that we'll say no problem because it was the Force. Oh, and by the way, this is kind of interesting. Notice that in this scene, when Rey asked Chewbacca about if they'd been able to make contact with the Resistance, she also specifically asks about Finn. That's twice in this film. Now, we've known from the beginning that Finn was obsessed with Rey, but why is Rey so interested in Finn? What is something going on here? Oh, wait. It would be wrong for me to wonder about that because fans that actually speculate about what might be coming in future installments are just stupid, right? Just like we were stupid to think that Rey's parents or Snoke or Luke's lightsaber might be important. F*** you, Rian Johnson. F*** you and... Oh, and by the way, I want you to look at this picture. This is just after the Millennium Falcon jumps away. Now, I'm going to be zooming in a bit, and I can only get the resolution of the picture so high, so I apologize for the fuzziness, but look carefully. This is Rey's escape pod, and pursuing her are not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 TIE fighters. Meaning that to take on an unarmed escape pod, they sent out more than double the TIE fighters that they sent out to take on the entire Resistance fleet. F*** you, Rian Johnson. Okay, wait a minute. Wait. So wait a minute. Not only does Rey know exactly where the supremacy was, but Kylo was actually waiting in the hangar with 2 platoons of stormtroopers, one of them with handcuffs at the ready just to take her in. I mean, is Rian Johnson really that stupid? I mean, I know I said he was a hack before, but seriously, this is just an asinine...
Cloaking our approach, we should be off their scopes. Then we slice a slit in their shield, blip blappity bloop.
So, apparently, not only Rey, But DJ and company also happened to know the exact location of the supremacy and the perfect angle to approach because whatever. And by the way, what a great coincidence that Rey and Finn, two characters that throughout this movie have been searching for each other, both arrive at the supremacy at the exact same time. But they come in from opposite directions, so they happen to not see each other. The Force. Meanwhile, on the Radis...
So a stormtrooper and a who now are doing what?
They are trying to save us. This is our best chance for escape. You have to give Finn and Rose all the time that you can.
You have bet the survival of the Resistance on bad odds and put us all at risk?
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. Okay, so Holdo is upset because of a plan that, as she said, has bad odds and put us all at risk. Oh, man. Rian Johnson, you are an idiot. Now, does Poe's plan have bad odds? Well, yeah, I guess. But let's compare Poe's plan to Admiral Holdo's plan. Poe's plan is not to put everyone at risk, as she just said. No. In fact, her plan is to put everyone at risk. Poe's plan is to put two people at risk, Finn and Rose. Now, Finn and Rose obviously infiltrating the enemy ship, get the tracker offline so they can jump away, everything's fine. Worst case scenario with Poe's plan is Finn and Rose fail and they have to go to plan B, which should be Holdo's plan. Holdo's plan is to simply fly the Radis until it runs out of gas and then have everybody get into unarmed, unshielded shuttles and make a break for it and just hope that the First Order doesn't see them. Because apparently, and this is kind of a weird techno thing, but apparently in the Star Wars universe, while they say the term cloaking device, they don't mean it like when we think of Star Trek and cloaking devices. In Star Trek, a cloaking device is something that turns a ship invisible. In Star Wars, a cloaking device simply makes it so it doesn't show up on radar. It's really more like just a stealth mode for like what we have in our modern aircraft today. So it doesn't, if the First Order happens to see the shuttles, well, then so much for your cloaking device. And the funny thing is that they're still within eyesight of each other. So that there's a pretty good chance that that would happen. And of course, once they all got on the shuttles, they're defenseless. And let's be realistic here. We've got at least a half a dozen Star Destroyers plus the supremacy against some unarmed shuttles. Game over. And even if they're successful, let's not forget, okay, so they get down to Crate, onto this fortified rebel base. And what does the First Order do at that point? Well, that's easy. The First Order, if they detect them, great, they go straight to Crate. If they don't detect them after they destroy the Radis, they'll probably start scanning nearby areas to make sure that they didn't get away. Eventually, they're going to find Crate. And if they don't find Crate on their own, guess what's going to happen? The whole Resistance plan is to send a transmission out that's going to hopefully call in all those allies out there that they supposedly have. Well, guess what happens then? If they call out if they call in the allies, well, the First Order is going to get that signal and they're going to know exactly where they are. So this is not a good plan, because once they find them, then all they got to do is call in a dreadnought, bomb the place from orbit, and it's game over. The end. So the most logical plan is obviously Poe's plan. And the stupid thing is that had Holdo simply told Poe on one of the many opportunities she had to tell him, including right now at this very minute, we could have prevented this whole mess. Seriously, Poe tries one more time to reason with her. He put all his cards on the table. He tells her his plan, and she does nothing. Now, let's suppose Poe said, oh, your plan is better than mine. Well, guess what? He could have gotten on a space radio right then and there, called up Finn and Rose, had them abort their mission, come back, and they could have continued on with Holdo's plan. But no, Holdo is stupid, incompetent, and just, f*** you, Rian Johnson.
There's no time now. We have to get clear of the cruiser. Load the transports.
Right away, Admiral. Yeah, I was afraid you'd say that. Vice Admiral Holdo, I am relieving you of your command for the survival of this ship, its crew, and the Resistance.
So Poe does the only thing that makes sense at this point. Holdo seems to be hell-bent on getting them all killed, so Poe is going to stop her the only way he can. He stages his mutiny. So now, Holdo cannot continue with the evacuation and tells Poe her plan. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. That's what would have happened if this was anyone who was not the most stupid leader in the history of leadership. This is the single dumbest moment in the entire film. And this is dumber than Spaceflight Leia. This is dumber than Green Milk Sea Monster. This is stupid. Poe has a gun at her, is staging a mutiny, has effectively stopped her plan. Now, up until this point, obviously, a lot of people like myself were thinking Holdo actually was a traitor, and that was the whole point. But no, she genuinely has this brilliant plan to get them to Crate. Why is she not telling him right now? Out of spite? There's no logical reason to not tell her, because right now, your plan is stopped. You are not going to escape. And you know that the only chance for survival is getting to that base. You open up your mouth and hope that you can reason with Poe. He has been trying to reason with you throughout this entire film, and you've ignored him. And by the way, it's obvious that Leia trusted him. If Leia did not trust Poe to a certain extent, she would have done far worse than simply demote him after his stunt at the beginning of this film. Holdo says later in the film that she likes him. She obviously respects his resolve and his go-get-em attitude. So she is being stupid. Nothing else. She is just being stupid. What the... Look, I will say this much. This scene had genuine tension. So there was that. But Holdo... She hits a brand new low for the franchise. I mean, this was just stupid beyond reason. No competent commander of any kind would have done what she did here. I don't think that it could get any worse than this. What the f...
Hit the like button, you will. Likes lead to comments. Comments lead to conversations. Conversations lead to understanding. Go to Patreon and support the anti-trucker you must, if supporting his videos you want. Yes, support his videos. Then listen to this at the end of the videos. You will not